Welcome to the generic video on a T6.1 transporter with Grand Tourer conversion. The idea of this is to actually give customers an indication of how things operate inside the vehicle. It is a general one, and the version you have may be slightly different between the van itself or the actual conversion that's been done on your van. So what we're going to use here is a T6.1. It's also a T30 automatic 7-speed gearbox, but the buttons and dials are all in the same place regardless of which van you get. Enjoy. So this vehicle's been fitted out with a front spoiler, air splitter it's called. We have 20-inch black alloy wheels and we have sidebars running along here. Now just below this you'll see a metal tube. This is the exhaust from the diesel heater, and behind that is actually the waste pipe outlet from the sink. You can't see it from here, but it drains straight out onto the ground. At the rear of the vehicle we have this already hooked up. It's on charge, and round the back we have things like reversing sensors and signs that show where your LPG tank is. The hatch. This is the LPG cabinet, and inside here is your container. It's very simple. If you want to use it, turn it to left, so it's lefty loosey, and if you want to close it up, you turn it to right, which is righty tighty. You would actually have it closed when you're actually travelling, and obviously open when you're parked up. Just above this, if you lift this wee clip up here, you'll notice there's two USBs chargers, and round the side we actually have a light here, which you press once, it comes on, press the second time it goes brighter, press the third time it goes off, and underneath here we have another USB charger. Under the seat at the back, press this button, you'll find the jack and your hookup cable, and in the corner there is actually the table for putting up inside the vehicle, which we'll show you later. So this is a pack that's been put together for customers for the first time. So this is actually a set of cab blinds, a blue hose and a adapter that you can plug into a 3-pin socket. This is a cost option, and if you wish to have this, please let us know. So under the bumper at the rear you'll find your spare wheel. Continuing round to the near side, we have your fill for your water tank. So you insert the key here, turn it, pull out a plug, use your blue hose to fill the water in, then put it back in and lock it. Now if you overfill it, it'll actually run out underneath the van, I spoke about earlier, and there is actually an indicator on the inside of the vehicle that tells you how much water's in the tank. We go down here, I'm going to open the passenger door. This is actually your fuel cap. So if we pop this open here, this is obviously where the diesel goes in, and this is what we call AdBlue. Now AdBlue is a liquid that's actually injected into your exhaust system to take out more particulates to make it cleaner. When you require this, the van will actually tell you when you have to put it in and how much you have to put in. Do not overfill this, it could cause you problems later on. So just do what it says in the tin, you'll be fine. So just going into the van, the cab, just to show you some of the controls. So here we have things like locking the vehicle from the inside. We have electric mirrors, so you can select left and right and then move it about to adjust it. If you turn it all the way around to here, it'll actually fold the mirrors in. If you turn it all the way around to there, it's heated mirrors. Push the button down for the window to open, put your finger back in for it to pull up, and this is to lock the side door. Again, keeping things quite simple, this is actually your lights, and what you do here is to turn them on, literally, just put it onto auto, leave it at that, and if you want the fog lights to work, you pull out 1 step, 2 steps, and that's your front and rear fog lights. The stalk on the left hand side of the steering column is actually a wiper, so you move up and down for different speeds, and you get variable speed just in the wee switch at the top there. And for your back wiper, push away once for it to be on, and push away further for the squishy. And if you want the front squishies, pull it all the way forward. The stalk on the other side is actually your lights and indicators, so up and down for indicators, full beam flash, and push away for full beam. To show you on the steering wheel itself, this side is actually to do with speed limiter and cruise control, and this is the operation of it and turning the volumes up and down. This side is a wee bit more intricate. If you use this button in the background, you'll see this actually change. So you can actually select different things and then go into it. Right, change again, data, and then using these can go up and down. So at the moment I've got speed. So this is temperature, oils, consumptions, average speed, range. I went to add the AdBlue, so you can see it all flicking over. I tend to leave it on either the speed or the range. That's the ones I tend to use. So going down the middle here, we have your radio system. Now again, in the past you click on here and into menu, and it has all these different things on it, but the vast majority you don't tend to deal with. Radio stations, fair enough, you get DAB radio on that. Telephone is done through Bluetooth, but you don't really use this because you use the app Connect. Vehicle information is just general information there, so you can actually go in there. Settings, simple, setting time and dates and things like that. Media, again, this is for using iPods or whatever, you're for listening to music. However, when you've got your phone plugged in, it does the same thing. Sounds is treble and bass and balance, and legal information, simple enough. But really App Connect's the one you want, and what you do is you get a cable called a USB-C, and you plug into one of these two sockets down here, and you can connect your phone up and have your sat nav and your contacts and stuff come through. That we have buttons for things like turning off your start stop, which you shouldn't really do, and your parking sensors, your hazard warning lights. This is hot and cold, this temperature here, air conditioning on and off, reheat windscreen, air recirculator. Don't use this unless you're in the Clyde tunnel. Power of the fan, directional control, and that's your front heated windscreen there. You have your automatic gearbox, and to the left of that you have a wee cup holder here with a 12 volt supply. There's really quite a lot of space here in the front of the cab, so going across it you've got a cup holder at this side, a shelf here with a 12 volt supply. There's actually a tiny wee shelf down here, some for credit cards and things. Across here we have another shelf. We have a top glove box, if you like, a shelf here, your main glove box down here, obviously the cup holder there, and then you've got storage and doors, which is a big section up there, and an even bigger section at the bottom. So showing you the inside of the works of these vehicles, probably the most important one, or one of the important ones that people are interested in. So we start to look at the actual caravan part. We start to look at the camper van side of it. What I've done here is I'm going to show you how to swivel the seats. Now they've brought the seat forward, so this shoulder is past this pillar. This is really important, just to make sure it spins easily and effectively. Underneath the seat we've actually got these two things here. Now this one here is actually a lever for taking the seat backwards and forwards, and this is a pin that needs to be moved so that the seat can actually rotate. So I've just moved the pin, I can turn the seat round, and that's our facing into the cab here. Now this particular seat over here is actually the driver's seat, and it does actually turn around as well, but it's actually sort of a 2/3, 3/4, and it points towards this side door rather than all the way around. And the reason for this is actually a couple of things. The cabinets at the back stop it rotating fully. You've got to take the handbrake off before it can actually start to turn, and you've got to put the armrest down on the other side so it goes actually underneath the steering wheel, and it is a wee bit footy to turn it the other way about, but it can be done. So what I've got set out over here is actually the books and manuals that come with the vehicle itself. So they're all here, and what I'll do is I'll put them in a wee bag, and then I'll put them inside this tambour door, so you've got them all complete there. One of the most common questions you get asked is when it comes to the vehicle, they're asking for a service book. Don't get one anymore. When you go along to Volkswagen, they actually do the service and they log it on the computer system. If you ever need it, you just phone them up and ask them for the registration number, and they'll print it off for you. Now, one of the reasons we do the video is so you don't actually sit and read all these. However, we do a sort of summary version and we fold up to give you as well as all these books. Some of them I would read, things like the actual diesel heater is actually quite important, but I would start with the summary book before reading the rest of this. And what we have here, this is your lock and wheel nut, and this is the bolts you require for the steel wheel that's underneath the back wheel, because underneath the back of the vehicle, mainly because it's a different size from your alloy, so you might actually need to use these if you get a puncture. So inside the tambour door, I put your books and your manuals, and you can see there's a wee light there which we can just switch off now. That's it there, and you can just pull the tambour door down. Well, we're in here just to show you, this is actually our main fuse box. You'll see the switch position is down here just now. Just leave it like that. Even when you plug it in, don't touch it, just leave it the way it is and it's fine. And the hatch below here houses your leisure battery, which with any luck you shouldn't really need to bother about. So the operation of the roof is actually a wee tricky one when you actually got a video camera as well. So it's way over there, now way over here. I'm just trying to show you stuff now. Basically there's a wee clip here and you press a button and it allows the strap to come down. And what I tend to do is I tend to take this off and feed it through so it's just purely in the top one. And then when I can release it, I've actually got handles here that I can pull it back down with. So I've just sorted these into positions. I've actually undone the strap from this side, but I've just hooked them back on. If you want the roof to go up, you literally just push. But the main thing you must do is you must make sure there's a door or a window open so it doesn't create a vacuum. So just push, and up it goes. And then for the upper bed, again just push, and up it goes too. So while the roof's up, I can show you a few things. You've got two of these, they're fly screens, one on either side, and there's two zips. One zips one side and one zips the other. It drops down, and then when you're ready you can clip these together to make it nice and tidy. The front window is a cellophane, but it's exactly the same idea, two zips and you can roll it up. When it's nice and tidy, it should look like this. This is the one I prepared earlier. Across the top here we actually have a strip that's a velcro and it can pull back. This is for condensation. Now heat always rises to the tallest part of the room, and what happens here is you can open this out. You can have it stripped all the way across if you want, take it off completely or close up, it's entirely up to you, but it lets the hot air go out and that way it's not building up condensation. So upstairs we have a strip light that goes the length here, and what we can do is we can just switch it on and we can choose different colours. Now, there is a disco mode in there, but they won't tell me what it is in case I start dancing, but there is actually one in there. And again, you just switch off. Now, this is the remote here, and it'll be inside this drawer here. But if you notice this wee bit here, this is actually the receiving unit. A lot of people press this in thinking it's a button. It's actually the receiving unit for this. So make sure this doesn't get bumped or knocked, otherwise it can get a wee bit tricky. So you know the old adage about what goes up must come down, and in this case when you're bringing the roof back down, make sure you bring the bed down first, and then there's two handles either side, just at a camera shot here, and I use these to pull the roof down. So what goes up must come down, as the saying goes, and to bring the roof and the bed back down, what you mustn't do is bring the two down together. You bring the bedboard back down first, and then you bring the roof down after that. Again, make sure there's a window or a door open. Now either side, you can just see this in short, is actually the handles for pulling the roof down. And what I tend to do is bring the bedboard down, and I bring the roof to about 4 or 5 inches here, balance on my head. It's just really just to give me a wee bit of time to pull the canvas in, and pull it in the front, roll it all up, and then basically lock it down into position. I'll show you that now. So I'll pull this down, pull the roof, so just balance it for a couple of inches just above the closing point, pull in the canvases, or the canvas I should say, then basically just start to roll up to make it nice and neat. And then you take these straps and just undo them and hook them through here. And this is just so we can tighten them up in a minute. Same with this one, press the button, comes off, tuck it in here, and back in here. Pull this in so it's nice and neat, and then just pull the roof down. And then press the button here to lock it into position, push up, press the button, and pull down. Again, press the button in, goes all the way up to the top, press it in, pull the button, lock down, and then just tidy them away so it's nice and neat. There you go. So I showed you how the bed upstairs works, I'll show you how the bed downstairs works. Now what we do here is we pull these out as far as we can, and when you're ready, lift this handle here and pull out, push all the way out, and then push down, and it locks into place. To put the bed back up, you see this wee orange lever here, you push it in, there's a cable behind it, it pops, and then all you do is push these back, lift it slightly until it locks into position, and that's it back to where it was. So at the end of the counter we actually have this selection of buttons and dials and plugs. So basically just working way across it, this is your main board, and this button up here has to be on for the vast majority of things to function. This is a 12 volt supply, and you've got one here, you've got two in the front of the cab, and you've got another one just at the end of the counter just behind the driver's seat. We have a 240 volt here, but you have to be hooked up for this to function, otherwise it won't work. This basically just turns the lights off. This one's for the one just above here, and this one's for the light just below here, but for them to function, this one has to be on. There you go. So this button works independently, so I'm just going to switch this back off again so you can see it. This actually operates the fridge, so all I'm doing is switch it on and off, and I'll tell you about that just in a wee minute. But the main board here, I'll just zoom in and show you. So main power on. This actually is the leisure battery, and this tells you how much power is actually in it just now. This shows a second leisure battery, but we don't actually have a second one. This is actually just a spare part on the panel should a second one be fitted to a vehicle. This button here shows a picture of a tap. Now we press the button, that actually activates the pump. It's flashing red and beeping because there's no water in it. And then if we go next one here, it shows a water level. Guess what? There's no water in it. So as you fill it up, it's like a battery. It'll actually raise up and down here to show you how much is in it, and this will actually turn blue. Now this is your diesel heater control, and what happens is when you switch the diesel heater on, you must allow for about 2 minutes for the thing to charge up, and about 2 minutes for the thing to charge down when you actually switch it off. You must have at least half a tank of fuel in the vehicle when you go to use it, and other than that, it works like an orbital control for your central heating at home. But you press the button on and it illuminates. I'll just zoom in and get closer. What we have here is we have different icons. Now the one that's flashing, if I press the button, you go into it, and this is actually setting the temperature inside the vehicle. And then when you're finished, you press the wee button to the right here, and it takes you back to main screen. Move along to the next icon. It's showing a fan, so you click on that, and it's actually asking for the duration of how long it's to be on for. So we go back, go to the next one. This one is for settings, so you can set like 24-hour clocks, you can set 12-hour clocks. You can set language, you can set temperature like Fahrenheit or centigrade, and then you just go back. Now if you move along one, click on this. This is actually to set up a timer for when it actually comes on and off. Then you turn it again and actually back to the original screen. And to switch off, you press the button in, and it goes red, and then press it a second time, and that's it switching off. My advice is read the book on this. When we do our version inside, there's like a summary version of it, which is actually quite good, but have a good read at it so you get a good understanding of how this works.